Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming in. I hope you're all safe and well, and welcome to another paranormal in history. That's good. I'm off to a flying start there. To a paranormal in history catch up with our good friends from GSI. Now we've known GSI for too long, but maybe best part of a year now, I would say. We've met up. We've had them on our show quite a few times, and we had the pleasure of meeting up with them in Sherwood Forrest about 5-6 weeks back, something like that, to film with. But we thought we'd bring them on here to let everybody meet them because they are an amazing team. Everybody involved in it are just totally amazing, and they're totally genuine as well. What you see is what you get. There's no airs and graces, no drama, nothing. It's plain what you see is what you get. So tonight we've got the co-founders John and Ralph, and we've got John's better half.
Thank you.
Not the better half.
I can't deny it.
Neither can I. Kim. This is the first time we've had Kim on our panel, so we're going to go easy on her, sort of.
Thank you.
But I know we've all met up before and we all know each other, but can you tell us how it all came, how GSI came about?
Do you want to do it, Ralph, or do you want me to?
Go for it, John.
GSI came about. I'm a swimming pool engineer at the moment and work for Nottingham Council with Ralph. But I used to work for a contracting company, and Ralph is one of the assistant managers at a leisure centre. And somebody put me on when I became a member of the council. Me and Ralph used to have good banter when I used to go and mend some of his stuff. And then when I started working for the council, someone said, "Oh, you want to go and talk to Ralph if you're into your paranormal stuff?" So myself and Ralph got talking, decided to go out on an investigation one night, Witches Wood, freezing cold in February, about -2, with the worst video camera, no microphone, and a torch that didn't work. And 3 years later, almost 4 years later, we're now on Paraflix, Apple, Amazon, Roku TV, got many subscribers on YouTube, and we just don't have enough time in the day to do everything, mate, do we?
No, it's busy.
Actually, I mean, the past years, it's been a really busy year for you. You know,
Yeah.
As you just round, I was going to, say what you're on, but you've just done it for me, so that saves me some breath. You've really sort of expanded and blown up in a good way. In the last 6 months, roughly 6-7 months, would you say?
6-7 months. When did we start on Paraflix, Ralph? Was it about March, April, I think?
Yeah, March time. So yeah, and it's just been non-stop since. Really, we had a small break in the summer, but yeah, it has been non-stop, and we've got a lot more to come as well.
I think we got the call in January, didn't we? That Paraflix were interested and wanted us to do a pilot episode. So within 2 days, we'd mustered an entire team, location, equipment. I went out with 102-degree temperature to shoot this pilot in February. It was about -3 degrees. There was coughing and sneezing and stuff everywhere. I'd edited the entire video the next day, this pilot, and yeah, I mean, it wasn't good enough when I edited it, so I ended up going back to the drawing board after I got well and sending it back off to him. And since then, it's just been crazy.
You're quite a perfectionist.
Too much. But if you're going to edit a video, you've got to do it right.
That's it. You never know who's going to be watching, who's going to be in, especially something like Paraflix. For them.
You learn new skills, don't you? You learn new things as you go along, and you're adding more to it. So
yeah,
it's
always learning
better every time.
Yeah.
Now, Kim, you're the voice behind the film.
I'm the narrator, yes. So I get given a script and I just read it.
Is he quite demanding?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I kind of picked up on that when we met in Sherwood. So how did you get into the paranormal, Kim?
Well, just being married to John, and it takes up so much time now. You know, it started off as a hobby with them both, and it's just sort of snowballed so much, and they're on all these different channels now. So, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. So, yeah, I think you're just delegating jobs out, aren't you, just to try and take the pressure off. So I just became the narrator, and
yeah, I mean, we started off, well, first it was myself and Ralph, and then one of my friends came on board, and then James, my stepson, he came on. And then when we started Paraflix, Rob, my other stepson, and his girlfriend Chelsea came on board. So Kim was the last one out, really.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like it's a family thing. You know, most of my family are involved in it, you know. And I include Ralph in that now, of course. You know, we've been friends for a few years now.
Even your son Theo's done the Halloween thing, hasn't he?
Yeah, my 12-year-old son's been out to, where did we go, Ralph? Mansfield Cemetery.
Yeah.
And he's GSI in training, bless him. So he enjoyed it, a bit of an eye-opener for him. But yeah.
So he's GSI in training, but it's good that it's a family thing. Plus Ralph, you can't miss Ralph. After you're going to miss Ralph out there, you know.
Ralph's part of the family now.
Ralph, I was going to remind him, you know, that
I could see you was going to do
always
that.
on the phone together.
you know, I thought he was going to get too carried away. And so Kim, you recently went from one side of the camera to the other.
Yes, this season for the Paraflix episodes with the Halloween, I was coerced into not doing so much work at work and having some time off and joining them out on some investigations this year. So most of October I was out with them. So yeah, it's been fun. But I can get out whenever I'm free from work, but work is quite busy at the moment, isn't it? So yeah.
So was that your first ever investigations, or had you been out previously?
I've been on some previous ones for YouTube, haven't I?
Yeah, we'd like to do subscriber investigations every now and again as a thank you to the people that subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's completely free of charge. All they've got to do is make their way to the location. And we did, I think it was our very first one. We had about 30 people turn up. Kim and the rest of the family was one of them. And we had a really good night.
So obviously, you've been on Paraflix now. It's totally, it turned your life upside down, basically. You don't really have much time to fit anything else in.
There's no such thing as free time anymore.
So your me time is totally gone.
We try and get time to ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, we try. I mean, you do a lot of your editing whilst I'm at work. I do different shifts. So whilst I'm at work, John will edit and things like that. But then when I'm not at work, he needs me to do a bit of narration so that he can then put that into the edit and things like that. So it takes a lot of time, but you know, the outcomes are amazing. The effort he puts into it and everything. So you can't complain.
Now, I must admit, I've watched all your stuff, and as much as I hate to say it, don't I hate games. He is good the way he does, you know. And all the episodes are really kind of spot on. So Ralph, how's I'm not forgoing about you, but don't worry.
That's all right. I can't answer anything to do with the editing anyway, so I'll just sit here and try and look at it until you get to me.
So how's Paraflix affected your kind of lifestyle?
Well, I mean, yeah, again, I mean, it's juggling a full-time job. I've got a wife, 3 young kids, so and all their array of activities to work around as well. So, yeah, it's just planning everything in and having a balance of it all. But when we started this, we turned around and says, when it gets to that stage where it is too much and we're having to put family on the back burner, then it's like we're going to have to step down a little bit. We always turn around and says family and work first because they're the most important aspects. And then, you know, everything else falls in behind it. But, and I think it's just trying to judge and get that balance, which I think we're pretty much there. We don't want to be taking on much more, really, because then it will become more of a burden.
Yeah, we can't do any more.
I mean, speaking as the wife, I mean, you know, it is a lot that you do, but you both enjoy it. And I, for one, wouldn't be in that position to go, no, I don't want you to go out tonight. I don't want you to do this one, because you both enjoy it. And, you know, that if you're happy with it, then
We couldn't do it though without the support of people like Kim and Tracy, Ralph's missus. I'm not just saying that because Kim sat next to me. I've said it many times. You know, family does come first, but without their support, also we couldn't do what we do. But it's nice for me that I've got them alongside me. You know, it's like a big group of friends and a big family together going out to hunt some ghosts, and thankfully people enjoy watching what we do.
Yeah.
You really are passionate about what you do, and I mean, when Sarah and I came down to Sherwood to hook up, we saw, you know, how much planning, you know, obviously everything that had been set up and what have you, how much planning you had actually put into it, and you know, you'd been there basically half the day setting things, and the way you kind of went about it. Not that we're any kind of critics or experts in that field or anything, do you know? But you can, I think sometimes you just meet people and you watch what they're doing, and you can see how passionate they are about it, and how well organized. Because that night went without a hitch, I think. Yeah,
it did really. It didn't go too bad.
Apart from you burping quite a bit when you drank the Iron Brew.
That just
a burp. That was more than just a burp.
Wasn't. I mean, they should ban that shit.
You lived, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but I've been in a coma for the last 3 weeks.
When did you nearly die?
The big walk.
Aye.
You did really well, Sarah.
Yeah.
It's only 10 minutes for the cars, you know, plus the rest, you know.
It wasn't that far.
Aye, okay.
When you was on about the planning, though, I've been over to see Cheryl today, who's one of our team members, because I've been doing the service at their leisure centre. And she was actually talking about the planning that went in to the Sherwood Forrest one. I don't know why we got onto it. And she was saying how much planning myself and Ralph would sat down for so long doing it. And I said, well, we don't plan it for us. Because I said it's more of an event for the people that are coming, not an investigation for us as such. I mean, we want to enjoy the investigation as well, but we have to take ourselves out of the planning side of it and think about you guys, not us, which is why I think it went so well, because we planned it for you, not for us. Do you know what I mean? And she was like, well, I can see, you know, the work that went into that sort of thing.
The start again. And my words are really running well tonight, isn't they? And it's coffee I'm drinking as well. It's not any of that Jack Daniels rubbish.
Sure?
But get back to Paraflix. When you started doing Paraflix, did you think you would head anywhere? Did you think, you know, you would get, because I mean, you're into season 2 now.
Well, more, I suppose Paraflix, it has headed somewhere. More for when we was on YouTube. We just, like Kim said earlier and Ralph said, it's a hobby. It was a hobby, and then we got picked up by Paraflix. So from being on YouTube, it then went somewhere. Paraflix, you know, it's a TV streaming site, subscription based. It's on Apple, Amazon, Roku. So it's quite well-known brands, big subscription base.
I think with season 1, it was more of a trial thing, wasn't it? And it really took off.
Yeah.
So, you know, how it took off so quickly has been surprising.
Yes, it has. And Paraflix is still in its infancy as well. I mean, that only started in the UK in April. So that's still a baby channel, you know. So to get where that is, I mean, that's exploded. And that's I think in its first year alone, they've projected over 100,000 subscribers for that one. And obviously, the more subscribers for them, it's more subscribers for us, you know. And it'll be global within 2-3 years, they think. So it's a good streaming site to be on, you know. And we were very flattered when they said to us, you know, we like your stuff. We've seen what you do on YouTube. Put us a pilot together. And here we are.
And was it a case of put a pilot together and press the panic button? Right, what we're going to do?
No, we pressed the panic button first, and then we put the pilot together.
But I mean, it's worked out amazing for you, you know, for you all. And if anybody's watching who's not seen GSI and Paraflix, go on and give them a look, because they are worth that, to sit and give them a watch. They do know what they're doing. As I said earlier, they are genuine. What you see is what you get. So,
sorry, Scott, just to plug that at the moment. Sorry, I got an email through from Paraflix yesterday. They're doing a 50% off sale at the moment for Black Friday. So if you guys are interested in checking us out, the show's called In Search Of. We're on season 2. And like I say, if you're going to subscribe to Paraflix, now's the time to do it. I think for the yearly subscription, it works out at about 16 quid at the moment for a year with the 50% off. So it's worth doing if you like your paranormal, and obviously the people there watching do. There's some good stuff on there. We're the best, obviously, but there's some good stuff.
Yeah.
he never gives up, does he?
Yeah.
It's all, he's running an empire. What is he calls him? Megastar. That's it, Megastar.
The Megastar, yeah.
But you see, the thing is, John, obviously, we've met all of you. You seem to be the only one with a big head.
Yeah, that's because I do all the fucking work.
I mean, you never,
I'm joking.
you never hear Kim or Ralph saying that they're megastars.
No, because I know it winds you up, and they don't see you enough.
In all honesty, John does great with the editing, but without the professionalism from the camera people,
It's a team effort. Always
the research and that Ralph and Chelsea put into it as well. They wouldn't have the show, and then obviously my narration just tops it off really. So
it's a team effort.
It is a team effort, and he wouldn't be able to do it all on his own.
As it's all well put together, and it all blends well. So after his season 1, which was a big hit, and you thought, right, here we go for season 2, was kind of daunting thought. What can we do for season 2? How can we make season 2 better than season 1?
What did we do? We scoped out a little bit more high profile locations. The Halloween thing that we did for you guys, that was a first. I think that was a first on Paraflix as well. So it's sort of like not a subscriber as such, but a special guest episodes. We had you guys on, didn't we? And then the ladies from the LGBT, they was on for 2 episodes. I mean, we've had a musician on. So we thought we'd get some special guests in. Hopefully, people were kind enough to watch our stuff. And Josh, who was the musician, he did some of the intro and outro work for us. So we said to him, well, if we can help, we'll give you your own episode. Hopefully people will go to watch your music. And that's what we did as a thank you to him, You guys, we've known you for, like you say, probably just over a year now, and we wanted to meet you. So we thought, no better time than Halloween. It was a massive hit, the Halloween one. Everyone was saying how much they enjoyed it.
We really enjoyed it. Apart from me getting done for speeding on the way back.
Oh no!
Mile an hour.
The 1 mile an hour.
Then you got
It was a camera to something Thornbridge or something like that. Between Scotch Corner and Penrith at 2:30 in the morning. I was doing 46 mile an hour, and I passed the camera. And the limit on the camera is 45 mile an hour. So
it's all that high in Brewbud.
It was all no, actually, John, I think it was the buzz about finally meeting the legend.
I'll go with that, yeah, I'll go with that.
There you go, Ralph.
I was talking about Ralph.
Yeah. I thought he was going to say someone like Kim as well,
And then we get the parking fine as well.
Yeah.
We stopped at Southwaite and decided to have a wee sleep, and we overran the 2-hour limit, and we get a lovely wee letter through saying that we owe Southwaite £80, 80 or 100.
For God's sake.
It would have been cheaper for you to stay down here.
Yeah.
Cheaper. To fly.
And go back the next day.
We'd have been happy to put you up, bud, but we've got 6 people living in a 3-bedroom as it is.
Well, you never offered at a time.
We've got too many people, unless you want to sleep in sheds.
So needless to say, we won't be visiting England anytime soon.
No, we'll be back down next year. That's not going to deter us.
Well, we're going to come up to you for a few days. You've got some sites to show us, apparently. So
I've got a couple of good relocations up our sleeves for you, which I'm sure you will be very, very interested in.
absolutely.
Sarah does well, so we'll just
Lots of walking involved.
Well, not lots. Well, I have a bit of walking.
We don't mind walking.
I'll just say 10 minutes because that's what you tell us.
It was 10 minutes.
So, it's a 10 minutes walk for the car. Just leave it 10 minutes, right? Aye, 10 minutes. You'll be fine. You'll be. There's no hills, there's no mountains or anything.
There is hills.
Shh. There's no hills or mountains or muddy paths.
No, definitely no
Nothing
muddy
like
paths.
that.
No, if it wasn't muddy, it was fine. Just a bit dark.
It was, but no. I mean, Nottingham, Sherwood was really an experience for Sarah and I. Not just for meeting you guys, but also at Sherwood Forrest. It's been around for hundreds of years, basically, and for us to be able to go down and investigate it with yourselves and what and also I tried the Ouija board for the first time, which I did. I kept my end of the bargain. I did try it, and to be honest with you, I found it very calming.
It's not what you think, is it?
No, it's I've spoke to quite a few people, and they says to me, how did you go on with the Ouija board? I says, well, I felt quite calm doing it. I don't know if that's a normal kind of feeling with the board or not.
Ralph?
Depends on the energy and the spirits that you're getting through. So anything, when you meet people and that, it depends on how you build the rapport up and the sense that you get, that first impression. Sometimes there is a level of, we've got to be careful. And other times, like you say, you can get something on the board and you can turn around and say, you know what, that was pleasant. It was informative. We've had a couple of those, and we've had some where we've actually cut it shorter than we wanted to, just from a safety point of view.
Mm-hmm. But no, I didn't feel at risk. I think maybe I'd watched too many Hollywood movies, as no doubt other people have, and they always get this particular image, of the Ouija board and demons coming out and, your house falling apart and stuff like that. But no, I really enjoyed it, and I would do it again under supervision.
Yeah.
No,
Always got to know what you're doing with them.
I wouldn't just run out and buy a Ouija board and give it, because we don't know enough about it.
I wouldn't allow you to.
Well, the boss here, she wouldn't let me anyway. ever allowed. But I wouldn't even try it because, I don't know anything about the Ouija board except what I've seen on TV and what we've seen that night. With Elston and shit, I forgot the name of the bloody place. Down in Sherwood. But it was, we really enjoyed it. I don't know, Sarah's thoughts on it were.
It was quite creepy. There was a lot of noises coming through the trees. So,
and for once, you guys were on the opposite side of the camera as well.
I know, I didn't like that. I'm normally the one behind. So.
And that was weird. Robert says to me, how does it feel us asking you questions? And it does, because we've done these lives now for over a year, and we're no used to people asking us stuff.
Yeah.
So it sounds nuts when somebody's interviewing you, you're not sure what they're going to ask you, and you're kind of worried in case you give them the wrong answer. And you don't want to, because I know I can talk, for quite some time.
You don't need to tell me that.
You just
never would have guessed.
Anybody disagree with me at all? Anybody? But you don't want to about drawing. Look at his face. He's not going to disagree, is he?
I couldn't get a word in edgeways. I was going to, but I couldn't get a word in edgeways.
Not enough. Carry on, buddy. Carry on. How is Sherwood for you, Ralph? How
It's
did,
gone silent. Speak, Scott.
I forgot what I was saying. He's picked me off. You don't want to give a big drawn out answer, you know, like 5 minutes and stuff. So it was
Didn't
really,
have that
really.
problem with me. I think I was 2-word answers.
Aye, she was, wasn't she? I thought that was funny. When you
Yeah,
asked,
she's very, very straight and to the point, wasn't she? Bless you.
I don't do well with speaking.
aye, you know, I was quite, you know, all right, that's it then, basically.
Yeah.
I was proud there with the distance and well, I didn't realise it was so massive, but Sherwood Forrest, I just did not realise the distance. How did you feel Sherwood went, Ralph?
I thought she went really well. I mean, yeah, we again, like it's already highlighted the planning that we put into it, leading up to the actual day as well. I mean, myself and John, we batted that many different ideas around, and we got an array of things we wanted to do. And then when we looked at it, we was like, well, we can't do this because we haven't got that, and we can't do this because we haven't got that. And it's a case of a lot of the ideas we wanted to do, short of winning the lottery to get the extra kit in, it was never going to happen. So then we had to be sensible. Hence the reason we came up and did what we did do. But yeah, we was there for what, 4 hours before? Was it something like that, John?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, prepping it.
Yeah.
Because when we arrived, I didn't realise you guys was already there.
I did tell you that.
And I done a wee quick live, and I kind of had a wee lack because I says, you know, we've came all the way from Scotland and we got here first. No realising you were already. I made a bit of an ass of myself on that one, but you know, it's.
Yeah, we had to get there, mate. We had a lot of prep to do, and you know, with working, members of the public around, family to sort out. We had a very short time scale to get it done, so we was as organised as we could be, I think.
He's done really an amazing job. He really did.
You enjoyed it.
Oh, we did. We loved it, didn't we?
Yeah.
I put up a couple of TikTok videos and posts on the page about it, including your embarrassing photo with Iron Brew. But
You wait till you see the video.
well, I'm expecting it tomorrow morning.
Oh, it'll probably be straight after this.
That's totally fine. So I know I'm going back and forward, but Paraflex, obviously, you've done a lot of investigations on YouTube, and you know, you look at locations and plan it out and what have you. How does the Paraflex planning differ from the YouTube planning, investigation wise and filming wise?
It's stricter, a lot stricter. If you imagine that you're filming for a hobby, you go B&Q or wherever, and you buy yourself a little handheld camera. You know, you see the YouTube videos of people at theme parks, they just film what's there, this, that, and the other. When you're filming for TV, there's certain criteria you've got to meet. You need to be able to film from multiple angles. The standards of the cameras have got to be so much. You've got to have so much equipment. The edit's got to be right. The sound's got to be right. You know, the team has to bounce off each other. It's no good if you're at loggerheads with each other all the time. Otherwise, people won't watch it. You know, if there's something wrong with the team, there's something wrong with the product. People won't watch it. So it's a hell of a lot more structured for TV. It's extremely rigorous and time-consuming and tiring as well, but fun. It's still fun at the end of it. If the fun had gone out of it, I think we'd have knocked Paraflix on the head.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's what we're in it for. But it turned out to be fun as well.
I think it's, you know, as you said earlier on, when it starts to become like a job and it's a case of, oh, you know, I can't be annoyed doing this, you know, tonight, then you need to sort of sit back and think, you know, don't get me wrong, there is nights, I mean, we go quite often taking photographs and doing wee bits of filming, and there is nights you think, oh, do you know what, I really can't be annoyed going out tonight, maybe the weather's crap or something, but if it gets to the stage where it's constant, then, you know, I think you need to sort of sit back. So, Kevin, you do the voiceovers. Now, we've done, I think, one video, and I had to do a voiceover. Everybody did, but I had to do a voiceover. So I had it all written down on a bit of paper, and I was sitting in my wee chair trying to read off a bit of paper and, you know, say it at the same time. but I don't know how many attempts I took. How 12. Thanks for that. You might have said 2. Take the one away. 2. I took 2 attempts. I found it really hard to do. How do you find it? You know.
Well, as I say, John will write the script. As he's editing, he'll see where he wants narration put in, and he'll write it out for me. And then he'll literally sit and hold the camera here, and then I just read off the paper. So he's holding the camera to get the mic close, and then I literally just read off the paper. There's been times where I've ended up in fits of giggles. I can't get the words out. I can't read his writing. You know, how he spells things like that. Words I can't pronounce. And it's taken a few takes on some of them, hasn't it?
You've had fits before. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Watch the outtakes coming soon.
But yeah, so it does. It's not all in one go and perfect. So
You do sometimes though. Sometimes you just reel it off and it's done.
sometimes, but yeah, you break it down, don't you? So
Oh,
yeah, I do a paragraph at a time, and then John will just edit into the film that he's doing at the time.
Yeah.
Because also, you know, I've watched all your stuff and I've listened to your voiceovers, and when I've been listening to it, I've always thought back to my attempt. I'll say attempts. All right. When I did it, you know, I'll just say that. And I'm thinking, you know, how did she do that? You know, it's so smooth because I was me that wrote the script for it, and I forgot half the words, even though I was reading it. You know.
Yeah, he'll give me an A4 piece of paper sometimes, but I'll break it into paragraphs, and I'll be like, right, I'm going to read that and then say it, and then I'll read the next bit and then say it. So I break it down. I don't read the whole A4 and just reel it off. I'll break it down. So
And then obviously it's edited, cut into the right sizes with the sound mix put right, and then overlapped the episodes it's playing. So that's how it works.
One thing I need to ask you is, do you like the sound of your own voice?
no, I hate it. I hate it. I'm a Londoner, you see, so I sound different to all of these. They keep saying I sound posh on the thing, but I sound common. I don't like it, but
I hate it. When we done that one last year, no, this year, we done and we're playing it back, I could, you know, I just wanted to disappear inside my t-shirt, just
exactly.
listening, you know.
I know,
and then,
when I watch it back, I'm like, oh, I don't like the sound of my voice and things like that, but I'm getting used to it.
And when we first started filming for YouTube, like at the very start conception of GSI, we was like that.
Yeah.
It was really strange to talk into a camera to people that weren't there, and it felt very, I suppose, fake, and a bit strange because you're talking to nobody. But the more you do it, you know, you sort of get into the rhythm with it. You've got to remember that you are recording for people that are watching it. So you're basically talking to subscribers, friends, family. Get yourself in the right mindset and you'll be fine. I mean, this series on Paraflix as well, I've had to do presenting work. The first series, not so much, but the second series become more of a presenter as well. Mm-hmm. And although it was slightly alien at the start, all the YouTube stuff helped for that. And again, from the first episode to the last episode, the presenting has just got better. Do you know what I mean? And Rob helps me a lot with that. Rob's the lead camera technician for us. So he's with me usually when I do the initial intro, the presenting to the camera. And he'll tell me if it's good enough, if it's not, I need to be louder, step further away, step closer, don't move. This, you know, he directs that really well.
Sarah's a bit like that with me, but I know what you mean when you're told, you feel like you're told to nobody. When we started doing the live, I mean, our first live was a mess.
It was.
You know, it was, I mean, I watched it back, and it wasn't until I watched it back that I realised people spent most of the live looking up my nose, you know.
Yeah.
But I was using my phone, and I had my phone like that, and obviously I'm no tech savvy or nothing. I forgot the camera's at the top, so the camera was kind of pointing straight up my nose. This was a really good look for us at the time, you know.
There was one live where you forgot to put clothes on.
There was a one live.
How?
No,
How?
that's what. That's worded wrong. Like, what happened was, it was all legal. You know, you won't find it in any dodgy DVDs or anything. Well, maybe down the bars and back. What happened was, we were doing a live, and Sarah's stuff was in the living room, and I was in the bedroom. And we were having a heat wave. We were having a heat wave in Scotland, and I had shorts on, you know. And so I was sitting in the bed, and I was roasting, so I took my shorts off, but I still had boxers on, you know. And then for some reason, I get kicked out of the live.
Because you were being an idiot.
Or Sarah kicked me out of the live. And so I was not even thinking, I walked through the bedroom in here and just walked in and said that. And then
Jesus, dude.
And something was on show.
And well, you know, there was stuff there. There was stuff there.
Did you put an 18 certificate rating on that one?
Yeah.
Well, I had to.
I think we deleted it.
The amount of messages I got the next day was unbelievable.
Aye, for pensioners.
I'm almost 65. But that was one of these kind of mishap moments that you suddenly, you know, that moment you realise you're standing there and you think, wait a minute, I don't have any shorts on. You know?
And then you forgot live for an hour and a half.
Aye, we've done another live, and we've been talking about it, and I thought we'd cut the live. And so after it, you know, the talk started getting a bit raunchy, shall we say, for want of a better word, and I was sort of effing and being and stuff that we don't do in a normal live. And then I noticed the comments were still coming up at the side of the screen.
Nice.
And the wee live square was still on. And I was like, oh, beat, are we still live? You know. That an hour and a half. And then why are they comments still running on that screen? And then bang, the sort of penny drop. But that's what makes lives fun, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we can have moments like that out on investigations, can't you? And that's why you do your outtakes sometimes, because you have funny moments that don't make the cut sort of thing, but you do an outtakes thing.
Yeah, I mean, although it's embarrassing for us, you know, it's a laugh for us. And we're sometimes in fits of giggles. We're paranormal investigators, and sometimes we just can't stop laughing at each other. So on our YouTube channel, I think now we've got 3 or 4 compilations of outtakes, Ralph, haven't we, where things just don't go all right on the night. You know what I mean? Like you saw in the last one with the horses. They're just eating the camera with its nostrils and then blowing snot all over. It's just like, why are you supposed to avoid that?
You can't. And then there's one I watched, it was some time ago. It's you and Ralph standing next to each other, and I think Ralph blows off. You know, he's got a wee habit of doing it. I'm not going to give much detail, Ralph, you know, but you have it.
I think the entire second compilation was dedicated to that, Ralph, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It got quite some hits as well, if I remember right.
I think it's the most popular one, mate.
It was actually something, this is going to sound bad, but it was something I noticed at Sherwood. I think I heard them farting once. Not that I was for it. You know, I was just sitting there.
Are you sure?
But, you know, I thought Ralph's quite famous for his farting. I've not heard them blow up once tonight. Know what I mean?
Well, we've got a new outtakes video coming soon, which Ralph doesn't know about, because there's a corker where he blows off in the National Justice Museum jail cell, and it goes around the fucking jail cell. And I'm just like, oh, for God's sake, you know, mid-speech to the camera, and he just lets one go. Bless him.
Really?
So, bless you, Duck. Bless you, Laura.
She does. Laura is rife.
Oh, Laura can try. She's part of her team. She sees her 2 minutes away from us. Laura
All
can trumpet like the rest of them, as my
Right.
grand niece would say. Oh, aye. She can play a tune anytime.
Normally in the car, and you've got to abandon the car mid-drive and just evacuate.
Oh, jeez.
People always
cleansing the soul. We're just cleansing the soul. That's all it is. Letting all the badness out, cleansing the soul.
If your soul is like that, you've got a problem, bud. You're going to hell for sure.
people tend to do it as they get out the car. Well, as you're dropping them off.
Yeah.
Right, and they slam the door, knowing that they've left you a wee present, you know. And as you're driving down the street, that's where you start. That was Ralph, wasn't it? Aye, that's it.
That's anything. Our daughter's
We're all
just
used to it now.
Aye, her daughter's quite. She's 5. She's quite good at it. But so, what's the most embarrassing thing? I'm going to ask you 3 individually that's happened on camera to you.
Who are you asking first?
Whoever, ladies first.
I don't think I've been on. I don't know if anything has yet.
No, but I think everything's been fine for Kim.
I haven't been on camera enough, really.
Nothing embarrassing.
No,
Not
I
for
mean, there was the not on camera, but the one of the Halloween things where that guy, one of the actors. Do you remember? Was it Dr. Frights? And I led the group, didn't I, for the first time? And then he was messing about, similar to how they were messing about with Ralph at the end of one.
Oh, Scott.
Do you remember?
Remind me to bring you to a Halloween thing after we've answered this question. Honestly, mate.
But as for on camera, no, I don't think anything's happened yet. But I've only just started going out on camera with them, so it'll happen.
Well,
I don't think anything overly embarrassing's happened to me either, to be honest, Scott. I mean, so far, anyway, touch wood, table we're on. I've never tripped over anything on camera. I've never fell over on camera. I've got my words mixed up on camera, so probably something like, probably the most embarrassing. It's a little bit embarrassing. We was filming episode, I think it was 2 or 3 at Grace de Prairie for series 2. And we had all the cameras set up inside this chapel, which was partially run down. And I went right over the far side of Grace de Prairie so I could get this sort of like picture of me walking towards the camera, and what the idea was in slow motion, and then I would cut it so I appear somewhere else, and cut it so I appear somewhere else. So we put all the work into doing this. I took this leisurely walk over to the camera, started my speech, welcome to GSI in search of, and then completely forgot what I was going to say. So, oh, fucking hell, I forgot what I'm going to say. Right to the camera. I had to do it all over again. That's probably the worst thing that's happened to me.
So far.
Touch wood.
We'll just keep an eye on this space then. Huh?
Yeah,
watch this space. I'm sure things have gone unusually well. I'm sure it's going to go tits up at some point because I'm one of the most clumsiest people you'll ever meet.
I noticed that. I've noticed
so I'm
that. Even on camera. What were you, Alf? Taking your bodily functions out of it?
Well, I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say anything embarrassing regarding investigations. And the biggest thing is where we stood there just trying to do the intros to some of the earlier YouTubes. And it's been like a sketch from Muppets where me and John are just can't get it. And it's just, for whatever reason, someone says something, we crack a joke, and it's 15 minutes later, and we've still not got back. Welcome to another GSI investigation. That's as far as we've been able to get. And, and it's just stuff like that, really, as regarding, embarrassing where, your face turns red and that. No, not really. It's, we haven't done any of that. There's been some moments where you like wanted to bury your head somewhere ever so slightly, but yeah.
The best thing to do is watch the outtakes, I think, mate. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I think that's it. The outtakes make a pretty good, call on how things are. as you've seen, you know, we are what we are at the end of the day. So, yeah, and that's
that's it. That's the thing. Like, you do the outtakes of people. I mean, there's a lot of ghost shows out there. No disrespect to them, but they'll do their show and they're very serious. They're very straight down the line, you know. But you guys, he's a brilliant way you do. You take it seriously, but you also show the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
You know, you show that these are just normal people. These aren't like superhuman or, you know, whatever. That these are just normal people. Things go wrong, whether it's on a camera or you fall down a flight of stairs or something. I'm not saying that'd be funny. Well, it might be funny.
What's your most embarrassing moment that's been caught on camera? I can think of a few.
Me and my boxers.
Really?
Come on, Sarah. Spill the beans.
So was it the
I
fact the
forgot
table
about that.
broke and you were like, ah?
No, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Or the fact you broke the other chair and ripped the camera out in the middle of an important live.
Done that as well. Aye, that was a good one.
I think.
But why do you tell that you're the one who's bringing that up?
I just did. That's my top three. I can't think of it.
I was on a live. Elaborate.
It was on a live, right? And he was sitting on a wee table and he was laughing so much. He was sitting forward and he was laughing so much that he forgot there wasn't a backing on said table and he just went, whoa! And the two cats, I've got the footage, I'll show it in the next live. And the two cats were sitting in the bed, fast asleep, and they looked up as if to say, Dad, really? And then they just lay back. The top moment.
It was just one of these moments, it was just one of these lives where it was just joke after joke, basically. And I just started laughing and I just leaned slightly the wrong way. Then I realised that there was nothing there except thin air and there was nothing. And I just, you know, went basically. What
was it you said on the way down?
O-S-H-I-T.
No, it was oh fuck.
Was it?
Squeaky voice.
Aye.
That
And
was funny.
the other one was we were doing it with CRA Entertainment on and I was using one of Sarah's chairs and the chair snapped. I think we had a full panel of them on.
We did.
The chair, the feet of the chair broke and I just kind of went straight. And I kicked the camera lead out of the tower on my way down. So we kind of left CRA up on the panel with no hosts just sitting there. You know? Yeah, they were fine about it, you know, they were totally okay about it. What was it? I say ours was a pigeon experience.
Oh, that was right. We were doing an investigation, right, at an old ruined castle that sits right next to the water. And we'd been all night, the necrophonic kept coming through, turn round, turn round, turn round. None of us turned round. And in the minute that we did, this pigeon came out of nowhere and flew from one side of the roof to the other and gave us all the biggest fright of our lives. Oh, not you, Disney and Laura and Gail, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say that was embarrassing, really.
But it was funny if you see somebody else getting a fright and it's no you, it's really funny. You know.
Yeah.
I would say my most embarrassing moment on camera would have to be that live that we done at Edinburgh.
Your 2-second live.
My 2-second live.
Oh, aye, that was.
Obviously, I don't like talking on camera, as everybody knows, right? But
aye.
we were at Edinburgh Castle, right? And it was quite a windy night. And I thought I'd be brave and do a live to explain where we were. So I had the phone, obviously, and I'm on the live. My hair was getting blown about everywhere. And I was like, we're at Edinburgh Castle, it's quite a windy night. And I was like, oh fuck, I don't know what to say. And he was like 2 miles away from me, so I'm looking about thinking, oh my god. So it was pure silence for like 2 minutes till he came up, and I was like, I forgot what to say.
She just dried up. She's like, I don't actually know what to say. And
Had first-hand experience of that at Sherwood, so we've seen it.
Aye, but this was worse because it was just alive in my face. Just that was my most embarrassing moment. I wanted to delete that live, but Scott is keeping it up there on Facebook to haunt me forever.
But it makes it funny. And, I mean, it's even doing these lives. You're not investing. You're doing these lives, and twice I've had the guests disappear on me. Just gone. It happened the other night with Mark Edgerton. His camera went, and takes you a couple of seconds to realise that you're actually sitting there yourself. The guest has actually left the studio, and so you think, right, what can I do? What can I, And I know some people might think, oh, that show was crap, but you get other people think, all right, that's what we want to see. We want to see realism as it happens. And that's what makes In Search Of, I think, so appealing.
It happened twice. It happened with Wayne as well, remember?
Wayne Miles to London, he was on, and he managed to kick himself out, and he took about 10, 15 minutes or something to come back on. And I was on the verge of starting to sing. I was going to start singing, but luckily I appeared back up. But I think that's what makes In Search Of so appealing as well, because it is realism as it happens. And Sherwood as well. I mean, we watched Sherwood, and it is just real. There was times at Sherwood it was quiet. And you just keep that in, where a lot of times, a lot of these shows would, edit that bit out, basically.
Or make something up.
Aye, exactly, or make something up. But you kept it real. So you're on season 2, and there's a season 3 planned. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I know he's were in Pendle last week.
We did.
Do tell about your
It was
visit.
shit.
That's that end of that one, isn't it?
Look,
Disappointed.
we was, but the problem with it, Sarah, is, I mean, you guys know, you've been yourselves. Myself, Ralph did the main crux of the research. If you're going to do the whole thing of Pendle, it's 51 miles. So we couldn't do it justice in one day. So we basically had to pick 3 locations within a reasonable distance from each other that had reputable links to the witches and everything that had happened up there. And I just think we got it on the wrong night. It was just one of them things. The first location went to St. Mary's Church, which was good to go because it's the first time I've ever been in a cemetery where I actually felt calm and at ease, and like you could just really sit on a bench and just contemplate life. I've never had that before in any cemetery. It's the only time I've ever had that. So that was interesting in itself, but nothing happened. Then we went over to the quarry. That was interesting.
We tried to find the quarry and we couldn't at first. So then we Googled it a bit more, didn't we? Yeah. And it was a secluded, is that the right word? Entrance. You wouldn't see it normally, sort of thing. So as we're walking along this old farm wall, there was steps coming out of one of it. So John sort of jumped up, gone over the fence and wandered off up this hill. Ralph then followed, and me and Chelsea were like, we're not going up, we'll wait here. And we stayed on the roadside, and these two just suddenly disappeared up over the top of this hill. All we could see every now and then was torchlights. And then some villagers came along. I can't remember her name now. Was it Alison? Can't remember. But they came along.
I think it was.
Yeah. It was her and her husband came along, and they thought that John and Ralph were poaching animals from this hill. And when we said, "Oh no, we're here looking," we're ghost investigators and stuff, she actually took us to the quarry and was telling us a lot more about the history and everything there. So that was a really good moment for it. But
yeah, and we had some reasonable activity there.
Yeah,
I was picking up on some really strange stuff. And then we finished off at Pendle Wood, just over the back of St Mary's Church. And the place that Alison had told us to go to was actually very active. Ralph was, the K2s had been quiet all night and they just suddenly went crazy. But the problem was it was on a path that was like a quagmire. So only Ralph could get to it, because he managed to forge his way across it. And using the equipment, if you get what I mean, we couldn't stay there because it was balancing on rocks and stuff. So we had to move on, and wherever we moved to, it just wasn't the same. So we ended up in the centre of this wood near where the sort of like a part of the location where Alison said to go. Did some calling out for 20 minutes, but not a lot seemed to happen there. But I mean, we sort of knew that had the potential to happen with it being so vast. You know, starting at Lancaster Castle all the way back through the walk and back to Pendle. We sort of knew that could be it, and that just turned out to be it. So we are planning to go back for 2 or 3 days continuous to film its own series and do the entire Witch's Walk from Lancaster Castle, starting and end at the top of Pendle Hill.
43 miles, I think, 43 or 45.
40 miles.
43.
But yeah, we think we're going to give it its own series to do it justice. Because with the witches, as you know, being in history, there was a lot of injustice with what happened to them. So, you know, we want to cover the whole thing properly and do them justice if we can. You know, try and let people know what really happened. But in that one night, we couldn't do it. It was impossible.
And when we do it as well, we are respectful of the villagers, because Alison was saying sometimes they get coach loads turn up and just traipse everywhere, and they're not respectful. You know, they leave the rubbish and then they're off again. So, you know, when we do it, we will be respectful of the villagers that, you know, when we've gone, they've still got to live there. So, you know.
That's their home. That's where they, you know, they're
Exactly.
basically, you know. What were you, Ralph? What did you make of Pendle?
Yeah, I think like John said, it was quiet. But that's the nature of the beast at the end of the day. You know, you go to some locations and you can get everything. You can go to exactly the same location at a different time and it can be the most peaceful, quietest place ever. You know, like you say, you know, the quarry area is very interesting. I think what we began to experience, it was a wrong night, but it got a lot more to offer there. And again, you know, I can only echo what John's already said, really, is we didn't do it justice that night. So to turn around and say it wasn't a good place to go, it's overhyped. You know, we couldn't do, hand on heart, we couldn't do that with all honesty. No. The time that we had allocated there for the areas that we could get to on that particular night, it's a case of we hit it wrong, but we will be back and we will do it justice. Yeah. If we go there and we hit it for those 3 days that we're planning on doing and we get nothing again, then so be it. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will see a lot more hopefully next time round. But yeah, it is. I think the thing that I picked up on most there, it has got an aura, an energy about the place that just leads to interest and anticipation. It's just charging up and you're just waiting for it to like explode into something that's going to be great.
It's got that. I felt when we were there 4 days. What was the name of the place we stayed in?
Brocklehead.
But where was it? Was it
Darwin?
Darwin. No, I was trying to remember so I could tell Joy. Darwin we stayed in. A campsite, Brocklehead Farm, I think it was. But I felt that as well with the area. There is a kind of energy about it, and it might sound nuts, but when you go to Pendle, it kind of takes you back in time.
Yeah, it's got that sort of aura about it. I found that it's almost like you feel like you've gone into an oldie worldy type village.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It's really weird to explain. Andy Murphy's got a question for you, actually. Andy, he's in Antelope Valley in USA, but he I think it was Ripon he came from. which is close to the Pendle area. So he was a regular visitor to Pendle and in Kirsty. Right, because the witches were transient, difficult to pinpoint best location around there.
I just think because it's so vast and what actually happened to him covers such a wide area, unless you're going to do the whole thing, it's a little bit like a needle in a haystack because it's so big, it's so vast.
Mm-hmm.
So we pick 3 locations. Let's just say, for argument's sake, there's 10 locations from Lancaster to Pendle. We pick 3 of them. The other 7 might have been off the chain that night. We just picked the wrong night. You know, we picked the wrong locations. I mean, it was, don't get me wrong, it was a very interesting place. Like you say, there is an aura about it. And if we'd not have gone, we wouldn't have been able to say, we need to do this proper. Otherwise, we're not going to cover it proper. We're not going to give people the real experience here. You know, we would still plan for a day, where now we've gone, we know you can't do it in a day.
No, that's what's surprising. I mean, even though we've covered Pendle quite a lot, you know, with our Pendle series, and then also with the Simon Entwistle and, you know, Haunted Hunts, and then we've done Forgotten Pendle as well. We always had it in my head that Pendle was a small borough, you know.
Yeah.
Or having this one.
Aye, wee tiny area that connected to each
Aye.
other.
But when we actually went and we were looking at the distance between locations, you know, some was like 25, 30 miles.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how vast the area is. And it's wonderfully atmospheric place.
It is. It is. I mean, it's a beautiful place.
Oh,
it really is a beautiful place. You know, I mean, for us, it's difficult because, I mean, we travel all that way and Ralph had put so much work into researching it, and it was the series finale. Do you know what I mean? That's basically the final one in series 2. So that's presented us with sort of like a little bit of a dilemma. As not a lot happened. I think enough happened to make the show interesting. I think.
Well, we put in when things don't happen as well. So, you know, we've got the footage there. You know, even the cemetery, you know, it was very quiet and peaceful and tranquil. It just didn't give us what we had hoped it would give us. So, you know, but
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, mate. The place was beautiful. Something, I think we've just scratched the surface, and we was just there on the wrong night. We always say, bud, that the spirits aren't performing monkeys. The quarry was okay. You know, there was some activity there, but the other 2 places that just didn't want to play. You know, and that's how it is. Yes, it's disappointing, but it's not unexpected.
Well, I mean, that is disappointing. You do get an activity, but just back to what you were saying about the season finale, you know, there is the old saying, you know, we'll finish this one up with a bang, you know. But I think putting your footage of Pendle up as your finale, and this is just my opinion, you can shoot me down if you want, as he has done in the past. I don't know you. Putting footage up where there isn't much activity, as you know, as Kim says, I think people appreciate that as well, because they're seeing, you know, these guys aren't afraid to show us we've got nothing here, or we've got very little.
Yeah. And
just the whole point of you being in Pendle, I mean, it's a story that's known internationally since back in the 60s, 1700s. I think it'd be enough for people just to watch it and see, you know, well, they went to Pendle. There's not had very much activity, but, you know, it was beautifully put together and it was really interesting.
I think that's what it's more likely going to be, Scott. They're going to think, well, that was interesting. It's not an all singing, all dancing, fire and brimstone finale that obviously we all want. You know, we want to see demons and things smash in and all sorts, you know, poltergeist activity. But sometimes it goes the other way. But like you say, I think people will find it an interesting watch more so. And the fact that, you know, Kim can rate over it and, it, you know, from a personal point of view, it shows how genuine we are. Like you say, we do put up the things in an interesting way just to try and shine an interesting light on it, that sometimes it doesn't go to plan. You know,
that is the reality of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and as Jim and Andy, you keep it real. That's the reality, and people appreciate real more than you going to Pendo and maybe getting Ralph to stand behind a tree and fart or something. So that was a ghost.
I know what you mean. Yeah, to make some noises that are not actually real or staged something. We never have. From day one, we've always said we would never do that.
And that's the thing with the Powerflix as well. They've worked out places they want to go. If there's, say, 6 episodes, they've worked out where they want to go. And we do it in that order. We don't video them, store them up, and then just put them out in an order so it gains momentum throughout. It's as it happens. So unfortunately, it is the finale, and it's not as energetic as we'd have liked it to be. And we, in other ways, we could have swapped it with a episode that would have been, but it's what happened.
Yeah, we don't do that. We film, edit, put it up, film, edit, put it up, sort of thing. It's week 1 isn't in week 7 because it was exciting. Week 1's week 1. You see basically what we see.
What
just
you see
edited together. Yeah, exactly.
But from this finale, we can say that we'll be back and we'll do it justice, and like you say, you maybe make a series of it. So.
Yeah, I think so. There's enough material there with the location, the distance, and everything. Like I say, more the injustice of what happened to the supposed witches. I think a bit more light needs to be shed on that. You guys did some good work on your Pendle series that you did, and I think we'll expand on that a little bit.
I mean, if we can help you in any way, but just let us know. It is a story. I've said this on a few lives. I mean, we done Witch Week. We covered the various witch trials down through the centuries in the UK. Like Pendle, Essex, North Berwick, Edinburgh. But the Pendle witch trial seems to be the one that sticks out the most.
Mm-hmm. It's the most top.
No disrespect to the victims and innocent people that suffered in the other witch trials. Do you know what I mean? But for some reason, Pendle attracts worldwide attention.
Yeah.
And it has done for decades. Because it's such a big story, and as you say, the injustice that was done. There was injustice done to in all the witch trials. I think to me. I dare say, I mean, they estimated in Scotland alone there was 3,800 women executed throughout the course of the witch trials. And I dare say in that there were some that were guilty, a dabble in the black arts or whatever you want to call it. But to me, the majority of them were all innocent. And the Pendle witch story was, in my mind, this is just my opinion, what happened because of 3 things. 1, because of a spoiled little girl who couldn't get her own way. 2nd, because of a vengeful son. And the 3rd, because of a magistrate who was just greedy, basically. That's just my opinion after we've kind of looked through it. No doubt people disagree with me on that one, but we've all got our own opinions. Would they just make new church? I found it very peaceful. I went for a wee walk around the churchyard, sorry. I found it really peaceful.
Yeah.
I could have happily sat in there in the dark on my own, and I think genuinely it would have been the first time that I could actually relax in about 25 years. I've never felt peace like it. Mm-hmm. And like I say, I would sort of like expect every graveyard to feel that way because it's a place of rest.
You lay them to rest in peace,
And I've never felt it.
Yeah.
Until you walk in there, and it's such a strange aura at first because it just puts you it just relaxes you, and it's so bizarre. But that's how a graveyard should feel. You can actually feel the peace and the tranquility in that place. So I thought just to feel that, it was great.
At one point, it felt we just had to sort of say, look, we're going to go now. We'll leave you at peace because we felt like we were intruding, didn't we?
Yeah.
At one point,
Yeah.
it was just like, right, we need to call it now because, you know, they are at peace, and it was just so calm. But yeah, quite happily could have sat there.
Yeah. I think I made the quip to the camera. I said, for the first time since I've been doing GSI investigations, talking to a camera, I actually feel like I'm talking to myself. There's absolutely nothing here, and I've never felt that before.
Mhm.
You know, everything was at rest there, and it was bizarre.
As a straight, it's a place you really need to. You can sit for hours and try and describe it to people, but it's to me, it's a location that if you want to know, then you really have to go. Basically,
Yeah.
We spent a lot longer there, but obviously we Miami with us, so it was a kind of a quick flying visit around all the kind of places.
aye,
But even she really enjoyed it. Well, Miami loves graveyards.
aye, we broke her child. She loves graveyards.
But she really did like that one.
I think. What were you, Ralph? What did you make in New Church graveyard? Did you get that same calming feeling?
Yeah, I think same again. It's, you know, it's sort of like through the paranormal world, really, in the community. It's sort of like churchyard's always been that place where there's a level of uncomfortability, you know, as in like you're not alone. There's something other than, you know, the spirits that's laid to rest. They've got unfinished business. But the one at Pendle, it was like as soon as you walked into the churchyard, it was like, wow, this has got so much history, but yet so much peace all in the same time. And it, again, you know, it's like you've already turned around and said, it's something where you'd have to experience. You can't project those feelings over a camera for the best will in the world. And it is, you just need to go there. And I think whether you go there day, night, or whatever, you're going to get that same peacefulness, that understanding and the calmness, and the fact that you just appreciate that people are laid to rest there, are at peace.
And it's also, I found, I will use agree, that you're standing and you're trying to take in the fact that you're actually there. You know, you're in the area where the witch trials, you know, where it all happened. All right, it's a fast area, but you're in that region where it happened, and you're in Newton and the Nutter family plot there as well. And standing in front of that, you know, I've seen it so much, so you. Seen it so many times in documentaries and photographs and that, but to actually stand there and be able to see this burial plot, and you just can't describe the actual feeling. It's just, you know, it's so surreal and peaceful. And then, as Ralph says, the history of the place. We went to St. Bartholomew's, which is in Whalley. There's a church there. And one of the doors, it's the original door that was used back in 1612.
Wow.
It's still in use to this day. And I was standing staring at this door. When you think the amount of people that have actually
Walked through it, yeah, opened it and closed it.
exactly, that's when I was open and closed that door.
Yeah.
Was that the one where the gravestones were the path?
Mm-hmm.
Aye, I didn't like it in there. That was weird.
You got an eerie feeling there, didn't you?
Aye, it was creepy.
They'd used a lot of the headstones as a pathway round the front of it. You know what? It was quite bizarre. It was bizarre but nice, you know, the way it had been done, but it was quite strange. But Sarah,
I think it lasted 5 minutes, and then me and Miami was like, "I'll get you the car." She didn't like it either. Normally, our 5-year-old's crazy. She loves graveyards. She'll tell you herself, Greyfriars in Edinburgh is her favourite place. But even she didn't like it in there. And she'll quite happily wander Greyfriars on her own.
Like we were going to Edinburgh on Sunday there, and I'd say to her, you know, we're going to go to Edinburgh, and she's like, "Daddy, can we please go to Greyfriars?" And this is without a word there lie. She was in the back. Oh, I've got a wee mirror in the front of the car, a wee ICU mirror. Like I watch when it's just her and I in the car. And I say, you know, of course we can go. And she's like this in her car seat. She's like, yes.
Bless her.
And I was like, oh my God, we broke that child.
It's the same with me with holiday, obviously. Most kids, when you take them away, they look for like sweetie shops or soft plays or toy shops. Tayami's like, there's a graveyard, there's an abandoned building. I'm like,
I don't know if it's a good thing, you know what I mean? But you know, it is what it is. So season 3 is going to be about the Pendle story.
No.
No.
Season 3 is Robin Hood and the Lost Souls of Sherwood Forest, an 8-part docu-series.
Did Tino say the next season we're going
no,
to
I
get?
said he was doing a series on Pendle.
All right.
Which series?
Then I just assumed, all right, so that's quite embarrassing for me.
Got to keep people coming back for more.
Yeah, but that'll be a future one, maybe series 4 or 5. But series 3, we're going to focus on: is Robin Hood real? Did he exist? Was he the person that he's been made out to be, or was he somebody else? Was he actually a villain? And hopefully, over the course of 8 episodes, we'll find out.
Did you? I keep meaning to ask you. I mean, that night we done Sherwood, did quite a lot of activity off a spirit. Was it John? It was called
Tom.
I was near enough. There was a no in it. Tom, did you ever find out if there was any background to it? If there was any, basically background to it?
Yeah. Tom Adale was Alan Adale's brother, who he's been in the Robin Hood films. So apparently them two people did exist. Sorry, I'm having a cat attack. So he was kicked out of Robin Hood's group for stealing from them. And it turned out that he was a wife beater, not a wife beater, a woman beater, a child murderer. And everything that they show you in the Hollywood films that the Merry Men were, he was completely the opposite. He was like a highwayman that just raped, pillaged, and he existed around that time in that area.
So basically, that to me, that's 100% validation for what you get. You know,
Possibly.
If you pick on that up, you pick up stuff in that investigation, and then you go back and you have a wee, dig about, pardon the pun, and you've come up, that this guy was actually a real person, and he wasn't the nicest of people. Then it backs up exactly what you picked up. What about there was another one. Was it? I'm going to get this wrong. Aye.
No evidence, mate. I couldn't find anything on Derek. But as he was coming through on the Ouija board and the human pendulum and numerous other activities we did, he seemed to be just, I think it was a 12-year-old child, wasn't he? So he was just, from what we could gather with the information we got out of him and his family were just passing through Sherwood Forest, so there wouldn't be records of something like that. I don't think. I mean, they possibly would be, but if it's 1700s, you're going to have to troll back far just to find a random person. Do you know what I mean? And it could be any Derek.
Then they never got identified. You
Yeah.
just don't know if they're not from the area. Things like that. So.
But there was nothing that smacked you in the face that said, "Oh yes, this person existed." There was nothing on him, unfortunately.
But I mean, you did get quite a wee bit of evidence, a lot of intelligent responses as well. We usually try to dig back the history. We found that with Pendle as well. I don't know if you found that when you were doing the research. When you're trying to get back as far as that, it gets, the further you get back, the vaguer it gets.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's the same with Caldwell as well. We hit a brick wall in the research with that.
Aye, that estate we were doing, we were researching that, and we were getting details about when it was built, who built it, who was, and the basics, basically. But after it became a hospital, that was it. It was just a brick wall. There was nothing. and then we found out the records are sealed.
Well, I think up to a certain point, things weren't documented like they are nowadays, were they?
No.
A lot of history's disappeared and slipped through the cracks, as it were, because it just didn't get documented.
Or if it did, it might have got damaged.
Yeah, damaged, destroyed, lost. So it's a shame that stuff that probably did really happen, there's no way that you can you can find it out for sure. You can have it rubber sealed, as it were.
Well, one thing I will be interested in when you do cover Pendle is to see if you have any theories on where Malcolm Tower was.
Oh yeah, I've looked into that. It's just on a hill. It's a hill. Is it a hillside? But I've seen the plans for it where they think it is. Is there anything there at all?
We've looked into it and looked into it.
It's a minefield, it really is.
And it is a minefield. I had a theory about it. I mean, I know a lot of people think it's actually underneath Sadler's Farm. That's quite a common one. We don't think it is. Our theory thinking on it is, Alice, she was 14 years old, 12, 14 years old. She was out for a walk. She wouldn't have wandered that far from her home. They took John Law to the nearest pub in Colne. So our thinking was that Malcolm Tower is actually located somewhere around near Colne.
Right, okay.
Rather than the other side of the borough, because as you know yourself, it's a massive, massive place.
Yeah,
and for
it is.
You know, a kid that age to wander all the miles,
To be honest,
I find it very doubtful.
Leave it with me. I might have some stuff to send you on the computer.
Well, the pictures and research I looked into, it was they'd had two people doing seismic surveys on a hillside, and they'd mapped what looked like a living room and stone walls and stuff. There was nothing there that I could see. There was no ruins, so it was just basically like a hillside, so you wouldn't know if you was walking across it. But they got this mapping of what they think is the tower, and it's like a living room, part of a house. And that's why I said, is it on a hillside? But they never specified where that was.
I know that the water board were doing work some years ago, and they uncovered what they thought was the remains of Malcolm Tower, but they actually called Simon Entwistle in to look at it, but it turned out to be a false alarm. The brickwork didn't match. I think they dated the brickwork, and it didn't match up date-wise.
Aye, they thought it could be Sadler's Farm because there was a cat being buried alive in the wall.
There is. They found a cat buried in the wall at Sadler's Farm, so again, this led them to believe it's underneath Sadler's Farm. We don't think it. We think it's only over near the Colne area. But that's, there's that many you know yourself, folks, there's that many theories out there. People have been searching for this place for decades.
Ralph, there's one for you.
Yeah. I think, like you said, though, it's such a minefield, and I think the problem is now it's almost like Pendle has become so renowned for the link to the witches. It's almost like all the history has become like a back burner, because that's their tourism as well. So you go in there, not only have they got their marketing and their tourism was bringing in the revenue for that area, but by making the history the equivalent to any other place that's been established since the Doomsday Book and before, you're normalising it, and it's almost like the fact that history isn't there and it's difficult to find. It's just keeping that intrigue going again.
That's the reason we did Forgotten Pendle, because there's a lot, everybody knows the basic story of the witches, the arrests, the trials, the executions. But what people don't realise is there was a lot of people behind the scenes that were affected as well. It was like Spaghetti Junction, basically, the amount of people that were actually involved in the whole thing.
Aye, indirectly involved.
Indirectly involved. And so that's how we decided to do Forgotten Pendle. And the amount of stuff that was turned up and that was unbelievable, as Ralph says, I was concentrating on the witch's story, and the rest of the history gets kind of shoved to the side.
Yeah, it does, unfortunately.
But it is, I mean, that is a big part of the story. Malcolm Tower, you know, it's one of the centre points. It's where the Good Friday meeting's meant to have taken place.
Mm.
This was a turning point in the whole trial itself. So even though a lot of people don't talk about it, it is a major part of the Pendle story. That actual location. But we only have 5 minutes left. So I'll get you to plug your group and all your YouTube and your just everything basically.
All the bells and whistles of
All the
GSI.
toys and whistles.
I won't bother watching it, to be honest.
Well, you're Matt.
I am joking. Sorry. Yeah, please, if you go onto our YouTube channel, I think we've got about 140 videos on there now, believe it or not. We do Halloween stuff as well. So we go to all the Halloween events when that time comes around, and we do reviews of the scare attractions, what the event was like. You know, is it value for money? Where is it? Is it worth it? Sort of thing. So we put them up on the YouTube channel, the outtakes, and then of course there's the paranormal investigation side. If you do subscribe every now and again, we will put up an extra video where we do subscriber events. It will basically give you instructions on how to apply for the event, how many tickets you can have, and then if you're successful, then we contact you directly, tell you where the location is, sort of thing, and then, you know, we'll give you a rough guess, say it's sort of like East Midlands or something like. Oh, thanks, Jim. Yeah, and then we're all obviously on Instagram, GSI Paranormal IG. We're on Facebook, GSI Paranormal Events, and of course this Paraflix, which has got the, like I say, it's got the 50% reduction at the moment for Black Friday. And we just about finished the second series of In Search Of on there, but there's loads of stuff on Paraflix. I'm not trying to sell it to you. If you're into your paranormal, it's Netflix for paranormal people, basically. So if you like that sort of thing, there's music as well. There's music, videos, paranormal stuff, UFOs, aliens. It's just all sorts of stuff. So if you have an interest, please check it out. But yeah, hopefully, you never know, we might see you on a subscriber investigation. Fingers crossed. Anything from you, Ruff?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, watch this space. We will have some new stuff coming up onto YouTube soon as well. In the background, I've been trying to learn some of the basics of the editing, so there'll be some stuff going up there pretty soon, just to take the pressure off John a little bit, so we can concentrate on doing the Paraflix, because it is a lot more intense doing that, where you can get away with a couple of errors, hopefully.
A lot more structure with the Paraflix, isn't there? So
yeah, it's a lot more time consuming.
That's it, yeah. So hopefully we'll have a couple of bits coming up soon on YouTube, so that'll be good, and we'll get that moving forward and get a few bits out there just to let people know we've not forgotten about them on YouTube as well. But yeah.
You're still about. What about you, Kim? Any final what? That sounds dead bad, isn't it? Any last words?
I don't know. I mean, just subscribe, and hope you enjoy the shows and all that. And you know, if anyone does subscribe and come on the subscriber events, it'd be really good to see you. And yeah, we're just growing. So yeah. You will get to use all the equipment and meet the genuine team members. Yeah. We don't take just other people just to make the numbers up, sort of thing. So you might not meet all the team members, because obviously work commitments and things like that, but we will, hail James. Hey, James. We will do our best to get as many there as possible. Thanks, Jim. Very much appreciated. Yeah, but definitely go over and check them out. So we've known them for best part of a year, and they are the real deal, basically. And we've had the pleasure and I say the honour of investigating with them as well at Sherwood Forrest, and it's a big thing for Sarah and I, and it's one of these things you don't forget, basically. So definitely check them out. They're, as John says, they're everywhere, basically. You can't get rid of them. Stop inviting us on then. Well, I know you get bored,
So that's I kind of take pity on you, bring you on your show. But we'll wind it up there, folks. But I'll hold on just a wee second after we come off. So thanks very much, everybody that came into the chat. We hope you enjoyed meeting GSI. And that's us. We're back on our own channel on Sunday night with Jem, who's in the chat, and Kate from Hectic Paranormal. That's 10 o'clock your time on Sunday night. But thanks very much to GSI for coming in. And it's always great to catch up with Jen.
Always a pleasure, bud.
You know, and we'll leave you there. So, bye. You say bye-bye?
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Thanks, guys. Ta-ra.
Bye.